Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a tutorial, an everyday tutorial on a palette that I've been using every single day. This is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette, and as you can see it has some great shades. It has very cool tones, very warm tones and kind of in between neutral tones. All the shades are very blendable, very pigmented, and they're all matte obviously, which is kind of hard to find matte shadows these days, so I was excited to do a video on this. I have most of the cool tones on my eye at the moment and I literally use this every single day, so I thought why not do a tutorial on it as my first kind of video back. If you want to chat to me or want to ask me any questions about the makeup, don't hesitate to leave some comments down below because I have missed you guys a lot. So if you want to see how to get this look, then just keep on watching. So I'm going to start off with my skin first, and I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury WonderGlow Soft Focus Beauty Flash. And this I guess is like a skin perfector, and I've used this once before and I wasn't 100% sure what I thought of it. It almost just looked like glitter on my face, but I will give anything more than one go without making an opinion. So I'm just going to smooth this over the skin, and this has a very kind of golden tone to it, as you can see. So now I'm going to go in with this cream base highlighter from MAC called Pearl, and I'm taking synthetic buffing brush, and I'm going to add this under the foundation just to add a little bit of I guess points of highlight. So I'm just going to add a little bit across the nose, and then just on the cheeks. And the reason I like to do this before foundation is because you're never going to get that kind of streak, and it's really well blended and it kind of meshes in with the skin tone a little bit more as opposed to doing it after. The thing I like about this colour as well, that it's not golden, it's not pink, it's great for fair toned skin because it literally is just a sheen. I guess it's kind of like a very light golden sheen, but it's very natural, it's not synthetic in terms of the colour. Beautiful! Okay, so I'm going to try this MAC Studio Water Weight foundation. I guess this is a video where I'm trying everything. Tried this a couple of times, wasn't 100% sure about it, so I thought I'd try it on camera today. The consistency is very, it's not as watery as the MAC Face and Body, but it's not cream. And it comes like has like a little dropette to it. This is NC20. I'm going to take a little bit of that on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to stipple it on with a beauty blender. So like I mentioned, this has a SPF of 30, I believe. And there's nothing I particularly didn't like about it, but I just wasn't, you know, I didn't put it on and I wasn't like, I should be using this every day. I was just like, oh, okay, it's okay, you know. I also feel that if you're going to do that method with the highlighter, the cream highlighter underneath, it's always better to go over the foundation or apply the foundation with a beauty blender, because that way you're not kind of stripping away the highlighting that you've already done. You're almost going on top of it and kind of blending them together. I have to say the skin looks pretty good so far, except for that little guy right there. I'm going to use this Nars Creamy Concealer. When it first came out, I absolutely loved it for under the eyes, and then something changed, and then I realised it made me look like 10 years older than I actually was. But I think this is like the second one that I bought, but I love to use it for any kind of discoloration or pimples. So I'm just going to do that on this little guy here. And it's great as well if you have like, I guess if you popped a spot and it's a little bit dry and it's healing. Because this is quite a creamy formula, it's not going to increase that kind of look of flakiness. Perfecto! Okay, so let's do the under eyes now. And I'll show you guys what I've been using, since I haven't made a video in a long time. You're probably like, number one, where the hell has she gone? And number two, I wonder what product she's using. So I like to use the MAC Prep and Prime Bright Forecast because it has a little bit of a peach, well, a lot of a peach undertone. Just here when I get a little bit more cooler under the eyes. Just using that same brush. It's such a thin consistency that it's great to layer underneath concealers. Well, I guess that's why it's used as a highlight as well, because it's so thin, as opposed to those kind of thick cream highlighters. Because they do those other colours, they do that light boost, which is kind of like a yellow. So I just like to do that and then kind of just blend it up to the eye. So this is my current concealer that is on rotation at the moment that I am using. And I do like it. I think I would like to explore a couple more shades. This one I'm not 100% satisfied with, if I'm honest with you. And to be honest, I do not love under eye concealers in general, because I do feel like no matter how much you set them, no matter what eye cream you put underneath, they always make you look, I guess, more crepier under the eyes, no matter what you use. There are some obviously better than others, but this one is one of the better ones, but it's not perfect, I don't feel. But it's not as thick as the Nars, which is what I like about it. It's a lot more creamier. Taking a little bit of that on the back of my hand. So I'm not taking a lot of colour, because this one is pretty light. And I'm just kind of just bouncing it over that area just to add a bit of lightness. So first I'm going to use this MAC Painterly paint pot, which is obviously not new news, it's not like super exciting, but I've honestly tried a lot of these. I used the Urban Decay, I think it's called Eden. It has like, it's like a, I guess like a neutral toned primer, which I do like, but sometimes it's a little bit too yellow for most people. Whereas for me, since I'm a little bit more on the paler side, I do like Painterly, and I do find it does the job. So I'm just going to use it with my fingers. So I'm going to set my eyes so that my primer is nice and smooth. And I'm going to use the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, mainly because I think it's an amazing palette. And it's definitely not one that you don't need. You definitely need this one. It's all mattes. All the shades are extremely blendable. You've got your cool tones, you've got your warms and your neutrals. What else more could you want, basically? That is the bottom line. So I'm going to take a mixture of this kind of lighter colour here and the kind of yellowy base. Mix them together. And I'm just going to set the whole eye with a flat shaded brush, quite a big brush. Okay, so I'm going to let that be for a couple of seconds because I really want to get on and do my brows. I am forever growing out my brows all the time, so the fuller the better really. I'm actually waiting for this, I think it's called New Brow or something, to come in the post. And obviously the snow, it hasn't come yet, so just waiting on that. So I'm just brushing them up because what happens sometimes, you'll probably get foundation or powder in your brows, so you just want to brush away any of the craziness. I've got a couple of products here that I'm going to use. I have no idea what order I'm going to do it because normally when I do my brows I do it so fast I have no idea what I'm doing. I use the Anastasia medium brown, which is the brow powder. Yes, you could use an eyeshadow as well, as long as it's not too warm. Because a lot of, I guess it's easy to use something warm because that's what you think a brow colour is, but you want to use something very cool and almost taupe. I also use the Uemura hard formula. It's great as well. It needs to be sharpened actually. And I also use the Stila Sale Day waterproof brow colour in medium, which is a great colour. So I think I'm just going to fill them in and make them a bit thicker with the brow powder first. I kind of just mix both the colours together actually. My brows, this one is obviously a lot better than this one. This one I'm kind of growing in just here. Sometimes it just takes so much freaking time for your brows to grow, yet anywhere else on your face or your body the hair is like coming through like crazy and you're like just waiting for 2 hairs on your brows to grow and it just does not happen. Why is that? Why is that? Okay, so I'm just filling in the areas I want to fill in. I don't like a very high arch, so I like to kind of fill that in just a little bit. And then just brush it up. So now they're kind of partially filled in, I just like to go over with something a bit smaller and more detailed. So I'm going to use the Stila Stay All Day Brow colour. And I'm just going to add a couple of hairs, particularly at the front, just to give it more of a bushy appearance. Because I hate it when the brows are too square here, so this kind of stops that from happening, and I'll just add in a couple of hairs. Okay, so now that I have a chance, I'm just going to go over and powder my skin with the SUQQU Loose Powder Natural. And I'm just going to use the powder puff. Comes in it. It's so cute. You know, you have this little spots and then you press it on. And you could be a mermaid. Just gonna... I also like to focus on the areas that I'm going to do some bronze and contour. So I'm just going to powder over that. Okay, so I'm kind of feeling cooler tones today just because I really do love this transition colour here. It's such a great contour colour as well if you're thinking about buying this palette. And I'm going to go in with a rather large crease brush. And I'm just going to take this from the outer corner in. And I'm just kind of sculpting out my socket at the moment. Of course, when it comes to eye looks, it all depends on your eye shape, what type of eye you have, whether you have a very deep set eye, whether you have a perfect almond eye. Depends on how you want to kind of sculpt and contour it. Really, because this is practically a shading light palette, meaning it's obviously like a contour for the eye. So I like to do this step because my eyes are quite heavy here. So once I kind of cut into it, it kind of sculpts it and gives it a nice shape. So I'm just going back in with that colour, but instead of going out further, I'm just going a little bit further deeper into the crease. But I'm doing basically the same kind of shape. Then I'm going to take a bigger, kind of fluffier brush with nothing on it, just to soften everything. Okay, so now I think I should take a smaller domed brush. I love these kind of brushes because they do the blending for you, but it also, you have a little bit more control as to where you put the colour. So I'm taking this, I think I'll take this one here, which is just the darker version of kind of that cool tone colour there. And with shadows, you obviously want the lighter colours to go kind of darker. That's a general rule anyway. So I just like to apply that to the outer portion. Today I want to do very neat, kind of defined, soft, smoky, everyday eye rather than something very smoky and pulled out. So that's what I'm going for today. And I've honestly done this look quite a lot as well, every day. But don't worry if it becomes too harsh, because we're going to apply a lighter colour there that will take down the darker colour. I go back in with that kind of very cool toned transition colour. I'm just blending them together. Almost dropped everything everywhere then. Okay, so now I'm going to take a mixture of this yellow colour and a little pinch of that whiter colour using a flat shader brush. Mix the two together, but take a majority of that warmer colour because you want it to be almost like your skin tone. And I'm just going on the inner tear duct and I'm just blending all of that darkness out just so they kind of gradient together, have a gradient together, and they're kind of all flowing. And you can also add a lot of lightness in the front of the eye as well, so it's not too harsh and you have a bit of contrast. So I'm just using a big fluffy brush and I'm just blending everything together. Don't worry if it doesn't look 100% perfect, because the thing about makeup is that it's always best to go back and forth rather than get fixated on one thing, because then you're just gonna go overboard. It's like with liner, if your liner's not perfect, it's going to get thicker and thicker and thicker. Just wait a minute and go back. So just want to blend it out. And now we're going to do the eyeliner. I'm going to do like quite a smoky kind of black, really close and black on the eye. So I'm using a NYX Retractable Eyeliner in black. These are great and they stay on really well. So I'm just going to tight line. I have to say I'm not the most elegant tight liner, so you're probably going to watch this and you're probably going to be like, that's disgusting. So just line underneath the eye as well. Now I'm going to take the black shade from the palette and I'm going to use a very small angled, I guess a brow or eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to go right onto the lash line just so the line isn't as harsh and it almost blends into something quite black, and then I'm going to smoke it out a little bit more with something quite neutral. The problem with these shadows as well, that you do have a lot of fallout because they are so kind of easy to blend and they're quite buttery, I guess you would call them, and then they kind of fall out a little bit as well, so hopefully shouldn't be too bad. So almost just kind of place the shadow just right at the lash line so the kind of black looks thicker at first and then you can blend it out after. Then I'm just taking a Nars smudge brush and I'm just going to soften that a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to take that transition colour, this little nude kind of cool tone here. I'm taking a bigger shaded brush and I'm just blending that out, softening it a bit. Then I'm just taking a bigger, cleaner one and I'm just making sure it's really nice and diffused. So now for the exciting part, I'm going to use some eyeliner. I'm going to use the Morphe M443 eyeliner brush, which is practically identical to the pointed liner brush, I believe, by MAC. It's very dense as well. It's very quite non-movable, if that makes sense. It's great for gel liner. And I'm also going to be using the Stila smudge pot for this. And I'm just going to do a very thin line. I don't think I'm going to do any kind of flick or anything. I'm just going to keep it quite simple. Just keep it very neat, very, very thin line as well. And honestly, I do find these kind of pointed eyeliner brushes are my favourite to use. The angled ones are good for doing a wing if you're learning how to do it, but if you feel like you're pretty good at it, then maybe change to one of these, because I find them a lot easier to use, especially on other people as well. So I'm just going to start just kind of in the middle of the eye and the base of the lashes. Doing it a little bit thicker as well towards the outer corner. That also gives your eye a little bit of a lift as well, even if you're not doing a wing. I can't state to you how hard it is to do liner on camera, so congratulations to anyone out there that can do a full kind of flick on camera without looking like that. Because it's so hard. Kind of confused as to why this is called a smudge part. I guess it's nice to do kind of smudge it out before you like leave it to set, but I would be a little bit more sold on it if it was just called an eyeliner or a gel pot, right? So as you can see, my eye's a little bit more lifted and a lot more kind of open because I use that kind of shading in the outer corner and the line a little bit thicker. I also went over with the Lancome Artliner, which is nice to go over eyeliner, but simply on its own it's not that great and it dries out very fast. Well, not dries out, but the brush, once obviously the product runs to the bottom, you have to keep dipping your brush back in, as opposed to using something like, say, the Kat Von D tattoo liner, which is amazing and I need to repurchase that. So I just went over that from the Stila, just to kind of make it a little bit more crisper and more black. So that's what I did. I'm going to move back onto the face, wait for this kind of thing to dry, and then we'll move on to the eyes then. So I'm actually going to use the Marc Jacobs friggin' huge bronzer here, and I'm just using a big synthetic brush from Zoeva. This is 10106, and I'm just bronzing just a little bit to give my face a bit of dimension, a little bit of warmth, because even though the eyes are cool, I want to obviously make myself look somewhat human. Just brushing just a little bit onto here. I'm actually also going to try the Kat Von D transition shadow that I used as a contour, because I'm sure probably a lot of you are probably wondering what the hell that looks like, and honestly I'm just as curious as you guys, so let's try it. So I'm going to use this blending brush from Morphe. This is the M513. Use a little bit of that. My skin gets red very easily as well, like if I'm doing my bronzer, you can see underneath my skin has a little bit of redness. So I'm taking a bit of that shadow. Just adding it. I'm going to blend it out afterwards as well. Just a little bit there. I'm also going to blend it out with the Morphe, what the hell is this called? M554. I'm going to go over my skin actually with a little bit of just face powder, just to get rid of any redness. Just using the MAC Skin Finish for this, because it does have a little bit of coverage. Using the same brush. Especially under here, I don't really mind it here, but just under here I hate it, and especially when I'm embarrassed. Like, you will be able to tell when I'm embarrassed, because my whole face, especially here, it's just like a huge patch of redness, and apparently that's because I'm hypersensitive, so don't hurt my feelings. So I'm thinking that looks a lot better, right? I'm going to try blush as well. I did buy, sorry if I keep turning around, so I did buy this blush palette from Tarte, just because simply, how would you not buy this? It's pretty impossible, right? And I think I'm going to use the shade Plum, because I don't want something too bright, you know. I'm going to use a synthetic brush, just so I don't pick up as much product. This is the Makeup Forever 152. This one as well doesn't have any glitter in it as well, which is a bonus. When I do blush, I kind of just apply it a little bit more higher and not so much on my cheeks. I feel like I want a lot more highlight, just because I don't think you can go wrong with too much highlight, right? So I'm going to use my Jaclyn Hill, you know what it is, right? I'm going to take a little bit on a fan brush. Take a little bit here. You kind of have to be careful with this as well, because it is very, very golden, almost like an apricot shade. So you don't want to use too much. Okay, so I think I'm going to do lashes in this, just because why not? I'm not really a lash person, if I'm honest with you. I rarely wear them day to day. They're just too much hassle, but for videos they just look, I feel like they just finish off the look, right? So I'm just going to curl my own lashes with my Kevyn Aucoin lash curler, which I find to be a lot better than the Uemura one, just because it's a little bit wider. It's so funny how these contraptions scare people. Sometimes when I do people's makeup, they're like, no! I'm like, trust me, I won't hurt you. Okay, I'm going to use a thin coat of mascara, very thin. I think I'm going to use, I actually really like this one. This is the Benefit Rollerlash. This is a little sample from my Sephora perks. Just want to add a little bit of mascara so the lashes blend in with my own. Okay, and I'm so used to applying individual lashes on myself and other people that I'm honestly not that amazing at applying false lashes. So I actually have a couple here that I got from a makeup trade show a while back. And I think I want to do these ones here. Just because these ones look a little bit darker and more heavy. I feel like I want to do these. So I'm just going to trim them and do all that shebang and I'll be right back. So obviously since this is meant to be an everyday look, you can or cannot, you know, choose to wear the lashes. But I wanted to just because I feel like I never wear them and it's sometimes fun to put them on. So I just went over the lash glue with a little bit of the Artliner just so it doesn't have any of that kind of shiny latex look to it. And for the lips, I'm honestly not a big lip person. Like, I'm not into liquid lipsticks that much. I don't really use lip liner and stuff. I just like to keep my lips really simple, and I really do love these Marc Jacobs, I think it's called New Nudes. Really simple, kind of like easy lip colours. They're not very matte, they're kind of in between creamy and more like a lip balm. I actually just have a little bit on my lip now because I tried it. So I'm just gonna finish off with a little bit of this. Just because I think it balances the look nicely as well with the cool tones. So really you can do whatever you want, whatever you normally do every day, just do you, you know? I think that's pretty. What do you think? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. And yeah, it's been pretty weird to film a video. As I said, I haven't filmed one for a long time, but I'm learning, you know, how to do this whole thing again. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it and I will speak to you very soon. Take care. Bye.